Attention bowlers, it's time to get started. Welcome back to Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. This is Jonathan Reid at Bryan Hebert. The match format is 5 strings with 14 points on offer, 2 points per string, 4 for total pinfall, and if there's a tie, the points are evenly split. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, brought to you by 3Ball Spare Conglomerate. It is good as always to have you along with us. This match was played on Wednesday, April 16th at 6:04 p.m. local time. First, I would like to highlight a few things. First, this broadcast should have subtitles and live captioning enabled, so if you enjoy that feature, please feel free to enable it in the controls below. And also, throughout the match, I'll describe the play-by-play action and provide up to the minute scoring to the best of my ability. Do keep an eye on the unofficial scoreboard on your screen. It's here for the benefit of the broadcast. While the bowlers maintain their official book records separately, scores may be subject to review or correction, and I may occasionally pause to verify scores if things seem out of sync. I appreciate your patience when that happens. Jonathan Reid, our away bowler, will start things out here with the inaugural first ball, and he'll put down 7 to start things out. 1-8-9. Jonathan Reid is just to the left of the head pin and leaves the head pin, the orange pin, head pin, a feature of Lakeside Lanes. It's in some other alleys too, but Lakeside Lanes, it's very prominent. There's a 10 box for Jonathan Reid on the board with a 10. And here's Jonathan Reid. A little light on the right side, on the 3-pin side. Takes 3 out, half Worcester plus a friend. And here's Jonathan Reid to the left of the head pin. It's the 1, the 6, and the 10 down there. And he'll take 1 more out, and that's an 8 box for Mr. Reid. 18 after 2. There's Jonathan Reid dropping 9, maybe 10. The 10 pin is thinking about it, but not quite. We'll call it an honorary 9.5 drop. So Jonathan Reid has a season record of 121 and 103 with 16 matches played. That's a 1.17 win-loss ratio with a home record of 77 and 49 and away record of 44 and 54. Significantly better home record than away. Jonathan Reid enjoys a season average of 97.84. A home average of 98.56 and an away average of 96.91. His high single is 123. His high series is 537. And that will be a 9 box for Mr. Jonathan Reid. And the third for 27. Jonathan Reid has 25 strikes, 116 spares, and 166 tens for the season up to this point. With a 38% perfect box percentage, he has 7,827 seasonal total pins. The 4th seed in Class E North Division 2. That's a 2 drop for Jonathan Reid. That's a right side half Worcester. Jonathan Reid is the number 5 seed in Class E North overall. And Reid is off to the left instead of the right this time. He's got 5 up, 5 down. 1, 5, 6, 7, 10. For the 10 box, it'll be a 5 for Mr. Reid. Reid, 32 and 4. And Reid finds the head pin there. He'll drop 6 with the accordion on the right side. That's the 5, 6, 9, 10. This is round 16 of the Class E Northern Conference. If you're new to the ACST, the rounds can be bowled out of order. We are somewhat late in the season, with the regular season ending on May 10th this year. So we have less than a month to go of the ACST for the 2024-2025 season. And John Reid will take a nice out of 9. And that's going to be it for the first half of the first game for Jonathan Reid. And I'll get you the scores up here. He's at 41 after 5 so far, with plenty of bowling to go today for certain. So stay tuned here for all the action here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. It's now Bryan Hebert on deck. And here he is, Mr. Hebert. And he's off to the left of the headpin just so slightly. It's a 6 drop. 1, 3, 6, 10 is what he's shooting at. Piece of wood just caressing the back of the headpin. Perpendicular. And he'll miss his target to the right and take the 6, 10. Leaving the 1 and the 3. And Bryan Hebert will take 8. 8 after 1. So let's talk about Bryan Hebert, part of Class E North Division 2. He has a season record of 70 and 126 with 14 matches played, a home record of 20 and 50, and a away record of 50 and 76. And he'll take a quick 8. Miss the headpin. Hit it on the 3 pocket. It's the 1 and the 9. Bryan Hebert with a season average of 93.26, a home average of 90.8, and an away average of 94.62, and he'll connect with the head pin and leave a pin down there on the deck. May or may not be in or out. We'll have John Reid go down to check it. Bryan Hebert has a high single of 118 this season and a high series of 515. He has 14 strikes, 92 spares, and 123 tens, a perfect box percentage of 33%, 6,528 seasonal total pins. Bryan Hebert is the 5th seed in Class E North Division 2 and the 9th seed in Class E North overall. And now the wood is out of the way. We have 1 pin to go to finish the second box for Bryan Hebert. It'll be a 9 box or a 10 box. And he'll take a 9. That's 17 after 2 for Mr. Bryan Hebert. And he got it with the pin. The honorary 4th ball. If you've never seen Candlepin Bowling, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you. I hope you enjoy what you're watching. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Your continued viewership is greatly appreciated. If you like this content, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel for more awesome bowling action. That's a 4 drop for Bryan Hebert. And on the head pin, lightly, pins are mixing down to a 5, 8, 9 leave. Also, to finish my previous thought, if you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. And again, do consider subscribing to this channel if you want to see more. That's an 8 box for Bryan Hebert, 25 and 3. Jonathan Reid is currently averaging 5.4 pins on the first ball. Bryan Hebert averaging 6 on the first ball. And Bryan Hebert's off to the right of the head pin. It's a 4 drop. If I could put that in the right spot. And Bryan Hebert, ball is off to the right a little bit. And he'll finish up for an 8, 33 and 4 for Mr. Bryan Hebert. Let's take a look at Bryan Hebert's stats real quick. Again, he's 70 and 126 with 14 matches this season so far. He averages 93.2. Bryan Hebert. It's to the left of the head pin and drops 8. Leaves the 1 and the 8. That was a good leave considering he didn't hit the head pin. Bryan Hebert, our home bowler this evening. Both bowlers bowl out of Lakeside lanes here. But one bowler has to be the away bowler. It's a divisional match, so even though they both bowl out of the same home field, one gets to be home, one gets to be away. John Reid is away, and Bryan Hebert is home. Hebert connected with the object pin on the second ball to only take 1 somehow, but it cleans up for a 10. We're still getting warmed up here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Halfway through the first game, Jonathan Reid sits at 41 and Bryan Hebert sits at 43. Stay tuned, we got plenty of bowling to go here on the ACST. ACST Class E for excellence. Welcome back. It'll be Jonathan Reid on lane 23 to continue the first game. Second half. It's John Reid. He'll put 5 down. 1, 3, 6, 9, 10. It's not quite a cleary. 4 horsemen in the sleeper. He'll take 2 of the 5. He'll leave the 3, 6, 10. For the 10 box, he'll take 9. That's 50 after 6 for Jonathan Reid. And Jonathan Reid, here's his stats. I'll flash him real quick, but he's currently the 5th seed with 121 and 103 for a season record wins and losses after 16 matches, average of 97.8. And here he is. To the left of the head pin, he'll drop 2. And he'll poke the 4 and the 7. And that's about all I can say about that first ball. And for Reid, he'll poke a few more out. 1, 2, 6, 10 on the deck. Neither bowler has thrown a mark yet, so it's the race to draw first blood on the marks. If Jonathan Reid threw 4 strikes from here on out, he'd have a max game of 170, fun fact. That's an 8 box. Then max drops to 148 with 3 boxes to go. He's at 58 after 7. Jonathan Reid has 2 of 16 matches with shutout victories, 7 of 16 matches with double-digit wins, and he'll poke 3 out. Again, it's the right side half Worcester and the 5 pin taken out. The 3, the 9, and the 5. And he'll leave the 1 and the 8. And that's a great 10 and a great out. Just a full enough ball to take the 1 and the 8. That's 68 in 8 for Jonathan Reid. Jonathan Reid is a 38% perfect box percentage. Compare that to Bryan Hebert's 33%. And he's off to the left of the head pin, the 4 horsemen left side, and the 7. Connecting with the 1-3 pocket is the best idea. You got to run down the horseman and take the 7 sleeper. And Jonathan Reid takes the 3. It's the 1, 7, 10, 6. Currently averaging 4.7 on the first ball. John Reid will poke 1 more out, and that's a 7 box, 75 in 9 for Mr. Reid. And I'll show you this again just because I think I showed it too fast before. So here's some stats for you. So 123, 537 for Jonathan Reid. High single and high series, respectively. He has 2,394 pins in his past 5 matches, fun fact. Averaging 478.8 per match. And that's a 7 drop on the head pin for Jonathan Reid. His second 7 drop on the first ball of the evening. Best first ball drop has been 9 so far. Oh, and he threads the needle between the 10 pin and the gutter somehow. That was quite an accurate shot, but didn't quite really yield him anything. It's still the 3-6-10 for a 10 box for Mr. Reid. And there it goes. There it's a 10 box and a 3-ball spare, a Paul Grant special. Missed the second, get the third. And that's the end of the first game for Jonathan Reid. That's 85 for game 1. 2 for 10 in the head pin. No splits, though. We'll see what Bryan Hebert can do to respond to that. He's at 43 after 5. Has to get to 85 to tie, 86 or greater to take 2 points. And that's how the rules work. Here on the ACST, I'm Steve Kelly on the call for 3-ball spare. Great to have you along. That's Bryan Hebert with a 2-drop on the left side half Worcester. Oh, and the second ball goes right where the first ball went, right into the ocean, in the void of the 2 and the 8. Oh, and one more. That'll be a 3-box. Oh my goodness, he'll poke the 6. Unlucky. 3 box and the 6 for Bryan Hebert. That's 46 and 6. Here at the wonderful Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire, featuring the 25th lane, and there's a 8-drop and a split for Bryan Hebert. That's the 5 and the 6. Great shot in the pocket. The 25th lane is a bar. You can actually see it in the front shot here, kind of towards the middle right side. You can kind of see those fancy lights, those 3 lights there. Great food, great drinks. Or sorry, great drinks. Great coffee, great everything at the 25th lane at Lakeside Lanes. And wow, no luck for Bryan Hebert there. The wood not doing anything for him. He'll leave the 5-6 uncontested for an 8-box in the 7th for 54. And Bryan's to the left of the head pin. He gets a decent mix of 5 out of it. Bouquet pins, 1, 5, 3, 8, 9. Bryan Hebert with a hop, skip, and a jump kind of release. He'll poke one more out. There's 6 down, 4 up. 1, 5, 8, 9. 60% of the deck demolished. And Bryan Hebert will take that 6-box and pen it in for 60 and 8. An 8-pin difference between the 2 bowlers in the 8th box. John Reid 68, Bryan Hebert 60, with 2 to go. Bryan Hebert averaging 5.6 on the first ball. John Reid averaging 4.9 on the first ball. And there's Hebert with another split. It's a 6-drop. 7, 10, 5, 6. And yikes, he marks that off as a foul, so that'll be a -2 of whatever this ends up being. So currently a 6-box. And a 6-box it will be. So that's 66 and 9 for Bryan Hebert. It is a must-mark situation for Bryan Hebert. He can get to 96 with a triple strike. Currently 2 for 9 on the head pin with 2 splits, averaging 5.7 on the first ball. Bryan Hebert on the head pin there. And he won't split, but he'll drop 6 and leave the left side accordion. That's the 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, the 4, 5, 7, 8. 4, 5, 7, 8 for Bryan Hebert. Oh, and he just barely misses the wood. Direct on the 7 pin, leaves everything else. Bryan Hebert, that'll be a 10-box. Third ball would have been a great second ball, but it is what it is. Jonathan Reid will take the first game with 85. Bryan Hebert with a 76. Bryan Hebert, the leader of the head pins right now, 3 for 10 with 2 splits. Jonathan Reid with 2 head pins. Jonathan Reid averaging 4.9 on ball 1, while Bryan Hebert averages 5.7 on ball 1 at the end of the first game. Heading our way over to game 2 here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. We'll lead off with Jonathan Reid, our away bowler, on lane 24 at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. Again, this is 3-ball spare conglomerate, a match in the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour known as the ACST. There are 5 strings of candlepin bowling to be bowled today. We just finished up game 1. If you're just tuning in, we still have 4 games to go. Bowlers bowl 5 boxes at a time. And let's see where we go. Jonathan Reid. He'll drop 5, he'll drop 6, he'll drop 7. And escapes the split stat. 3, 6, 10. Reid on the 3-6-10 with wood, and there goes the spare for Jonathan Reid. 10 and a bonus after 1. Jonathan Reid, his head pin average per match is 23 for 50 this season so far, with a split average of 14 per match. Home house is Lakeside. Past 5 matches, he's taken 33 points, averaging 6.6 per match. 8 drop and 8 fill for Jonathan Reid, bringing his first ball average up to 6.2. And that's a double spare for Jonathan Reid. He's on the board, 28 and a bonus after 2. Jonathan Reid has 5 of 16 matches, totaling at or over 500 in grand total pinfall. His longest streak of matches at or over 100 has been 6. His longest streak of matches at or over 500 has been 2. His longest winning streak of greater than 7 points per match has been 4 so far. That's a 3 fill for Jonathan Reid. He's in the right back side at Candlepin corner. He took the 6 triangle out and nothing else. Jonathan Reid is to the right of the head pin, 1, 2, 4, 7 on the deck. Left side 4 horsemen for a 10 box, 6 box guarantee. At the Wednesday night league filing in here at Lakeside, you may have noticed that plenty of people have been coming in to grab stuff out of their lockers and whatnot. Lakeside Lanes is a very busy house, and about to get even busier, especially going into the summer and fall. Jonathan Reid at 37 after 3 so far. To the left of the head pin, 7 go down. 1, 3, and 5 are what he has to shoot at. The 3 pin's an orange pin. Jonathan Reid connects with a 1, and it bounces around. 3 and 5 are safe. For a 10 box, John Reid will check in with a 10, 47 after 4. Jonathan Reid is currently 4 for 14 on the head pin and hasn't thrown a single split yet. Bryan Hebert is 3 for 10 on the head pin with 2 splits. Comes John Reid on the head pin there. 8 go down. Not a split though. 2 and 8. This will be an interesting one. The wood is settling. There's 3 pieces of wood. The tips of 2 pieces of wood are kind of in between the 2 and the 8. Might be helpful, honestly. And there it goes. A sidewall took the back sleeper pin. That's 3 marks and a half for John Reid. 57 and a bonus after 5. He's 3 for 5 on the head pin this game. 5 for 15 overall on the head pin. Again, no splits. That's pretty amazing. It's Bryan Hebert next here on lane 24. And here he is. He was also in the B-roll. And just slightly grazing the head pin, but it doesn't knock it over. He's got the 1, 2, 4, 7, 10 after the first ball. It's a 5 drop. He'll poke the not the 7, the 2. Jonathan Reid's averaging 5.8 on the first ball for pins down. Bryan Hebert's currently at 5.4 for pins down. That's a 6 box for Bryan Hebert. 1, 7, 10, 4. And here's Bryan Hebert to the right of the head pin. Drops 6, 4 horsemen left side. In box 12 of 50. And Hebert's just slightly off the object pin. The object pin's the last pin standing. And he'll fire on the object pin and miss to the right. That's a 9 box for 15 after 2 for Mr. Bryan Hebert. Hebert with an orange pin head pin. Ooh, and he'll collide with the 10 pin and take one out. And he'll take two more out there. Collide with the 4 and the 4 and the 8. No, the 4 and the 9. I don't know why I keep wanting to say 7 this evening. Probably because there's a 7 box. 1, 2, 4 left on the deck, and that's a 7 in the third for Bryan Hebert for 22. Compare that to John Reid's 37. And Hebert, ooh, and he'll overcorrect again. That's another 1 drop on the first ball. Second in a row on the 7 pin this time. Symmetry across 2 first balls. On the head pin there, he almost takes all the cans out. The 4 pin's the last to stand. That's a 10, 32 and 4 for Hebert. Bryan Hebert threw a 76 in the first game. Jonathan Reid threw an 85 in the first game. John Reid has the potential to throw a 207 max game, while Bryan Hebert can throw a 212 max game. That is, provided that you strike out for the rest of the string. Bryan Hebert's on the head pin, and he'll split 6. Averaging 4.8 on the first ball, 15 boxes in. John Reid is averaging 5.8 on the first ball. 6 down, 4 up for Hebert. Piece of wood will wrap around the axle on the 2 pin, but it won't take it down, and the 10 pin is unaffected. That'll be a 9 for Bryan Hebert, and 41 after 5. 1.5 game total, 142 for Jonathan Reid, and a 1.5 game total, 117 for Bryan Hebert. 5.8 on the first ball for Jonathan Reid, 4.8 on the first ball for Bryan Hebert on average. 5 head pins for Jonathan Reid, 4 head pins for Bryan Hebert. Bryan Hebert has 3 splits. John Reid has none. And we're back. Here's Jonathan Reid filling a spare. And Reid, ooh, it'll be an awkward 2 fill there. And you could tell by his animation something was not right with that release. 59 and 5. And the recovery ball, 1, 3, 6 are left on the deck, no mark. For the 10 box, he'll leave the head pin. That's a 9 for 68 and 6. Jonathan Reid on the head pin. There's a strike by Jonathan Reid. The first strike of the match, and that's his 4th mark of the game. That's 78 and a bonus in the 7th for Mr. Reid. Jonathan Reid flagging down Caitlin Zolko, because he was making remarks saying if he loses this, she's going to be very upset with him. So he wanted her to witness the fill on the strike, starting now. And he'll drop 7. 1 more ball to go on the fill. It's averaging 5.7 on the first ball. To complete that strike fill, from 7 we go to 9, and it's a 9 fill. 87 and 7. Five marks this game out of 7 boxes for Jonathan Reid. He'll take a 9 box there, 96 and 8. If he bowls a 4-bagger here, he can get to 156, fun fact. It's currently 6 for 18 on the head pin. Again, no splits yet. And Reid to the left of the head pin, 136, 947. It's a 4-drop. Reid's on the pocket, but a little bit too full. The 4 and the 7 don't get enough gusto shoved over to them. This will be for a 10 box with an 8 box guarantee for John Reid. He'll be a 9, splitting the difference. 105, crossing the 100 threshold in the 9th frame. The ceiling is 135 for Jonathan Reid with a triple strike. Reid's to the right of the head pin. He'll take what appears to be 3 out. Yes, it is 3. He'll take the right side candlepin corner out. The 6 triangle gets knocked into the ocean in the back. And Reid will poke 1. 6 up, 4 down now. It's the 1 triangle and the 7 and the 8. Excuse me, the 1 diamond and the 7 and the 8. And it will be an 8 and a game 2 of 113 for Jonathan Reid, a significant improvement over the first game of 85. He's at 198 after 2 games. A lot of marks in the second game in particular. Actually, all of his marks have been in this game as well, so 1 strike, 3 spares, 6 for 20 on the head pin. Again, no splits. He's very lucky so far in terms of the split department. Bryan Hebert. Pitches 8, pitches 9. 9 go down, all but the 10. Bryan Hebert's in a must-mark situation to catch up to Jonathan Reid's 113. Single pin shot. They're harder than they look. Hebert, oh, it's into the gutter, unfortunately, but it doesn't connect with a 10, so he has another shot at a 10 box. And it goes into the gutter again. That's a 9 box for 50 after 6 for Bryan Hebert. Hebert's on. Oh, there's the 10 pin there. Wishes that was the second ball in the previous frame. Bryan Hebert has 1 out of 14 matches with shutout victories. That was against Chris Sammons. He has 3 out of 14 matches with double-digit wins. Second ball punches out the center. Bryan Hebert averages 17 for 50 on the head pin and 8.45 splits per match. That's a 5 box for Bryan Hebert in the 7th for 55. Compare that to 87 in 7 for Jonathan Reid. Bryan's on the head pin there. Thunderous first ball. It's a split and an 8 drop. 7 and 8. Little hope for a mark here, unfortunately. There's no wood. Got to play it at an angle, and he wanted to play the 8 on the right side to hope it would kick to the 7. I have seen it go, but starts with hitting it. It's a miss on the second ball. Picking a stick, he'll connect with the 8 on the left side this time and take a 9 box for 64 and 8. Bryan Hebert has a max game of 124 if he goes all strikes, so it isn't impossible to take this game, but it will require all strikes effectively. And Hebert is off to the right, and I believe that's going to be a 3 drop. The 6-pack and the 10 are on the deck. 6-pack left side and the 10. Hey, and Chris Sammons just showed up in the audience. We were just talking about Chris Sammons that Bryan Hebert thoroughly thumped in Riverwalk Lanes recently. Went 14-0 against Chris Sammons. 6 to 10 box for Bryan Hebert. It'll be a 6 for 70 and 9. $70-9 for Mr. Bryan Hebert. So we would have been streaming to Facebook this evening, but another match is currently being live streamed on the ACST Facebook page, so we were unable to get a lock on that. There's a weird limitation right now on the ACST Facebook page where it seems if someone else is streaming or already in progress, you can't start another stream simultaneously. So that's why we stream to 3-ball spare here on YouTube right now. So Bryan Hebert's looking at a 6 or greater, and it will be a 6 box, and that's going to be a 76. Second game for Bryan Hebert with a 2-game total of 152. 2 76s in a row for Bryan Hebert. 85 and 113 for Jonathan Reid. It's currently 198 to 152, a difference of 46 in the total in John Reid's favor. John Reid took the second game by 37. Bryan Hebert is currently 6 for 20 on the head pin with 4 splits and averaging 5.1 on the first ball. Jonathan Reid is averaging 5.4 on the first ball. Stay with us. We'll be right back for Game 3 on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. We have John Reid getting ready on lane 24. And welcome back. It's Jonathan Reid. First ball of the third game, and he's on the head pin. Pins are still mixing. It looks like it's going to be a 9-drop. It's the 2 pin down there. For a mark, it's a spare for Jonathan Reid, similar to the way the second game started out. He's on the board with a single pin spare. Where are we this evening? We are at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire, established in 1959 nearby the Massabesic Lake. Multiple-time winner of the WMUR Viewer's Choice Best Bowling Alley in 2015, 17, 19, and 21. That was the headpin shot, but that's a 7 fill for Jonathan Reid. That's a 1-2-8 on the deck. Reid, always on the object pin. But the sleeper is protected by the sidewall and the lateral action with a piece of wood rolling away. Reid 9 or 10. It'll be a 9 for 26 and 2. But yes, we're at Lakeside Lanes off the traffic circle at the Massabesic Lake on exit 1 on 101. In New Hampshire, in Manchester. It's got the 25th lane bar, as we discussed earlier. It's got CompuScore for the scoring software and oldie but goodie. Here's Jonathan Reid. Oh, and he punches the spread eagle. A 4-drop and a split. The spread eagle. The dreaded nemesis of every Candlepin bowler. John Reid. Ooh. And actually, you know, an extra pin fell, now that you mention it. So it kind of was a spread eagle until an extra pin fell. And it'll complete that symmetry by taking the 7 on the second ball. 2, 3, 4, 6 for John Reid, and he'll take everything but the 2 and a great out of a 9 box for what he was given. That's 35 and 3 for Jonathan Reid. Lakeside Lanes is owned by Tim Lipke. You may know that name if you've seen the old WNDS Candlepin Stars and Strikes shows of the 80s and 90s. And now he owns this bowling alley. That's a 3-drop for Jonathan Reid. Took out the left side Candlepin corner. And that's now a 7 or greater for Jonathan Reid after 2 balls. He leaves the 5, the 9, and the 10 in the 4th frame. And Reid will take an 8. Lakeside Lanes opened on November 27th, 1959. Is roughly the same age as Leda Lanes, at about 64-ish years. 65 years now. Their website's About Us page has a really detailed history talking about the precision involved needed to lay the lanes down here and how much, to what great lengths they went to make sure everything was like absolutely like perfect in terms of levels and lengths and everything. So Lakeside Lanes, very precisely built house. 5-drop, spare leave for John Reid. He misses the object and leaves only the object. It's the head pin now on the deck. He's at 43 and 4, potential for 53 and 5. The result of the play is a 9 box for Jonathan Reid. After 5, he's at 52, with 2 head pins for 5 and 1 split this half so far. Currently 8 for 25 in the total game for head pins, with 1 split, so he finally broke the split barrier. Story for Jonathan Reid this half. Bryan Hebert now on the 1-3 pocket, and there's a strike by Bryan Hebert. He is on the board with a strike. Both bowlers are. And here's the strike once again, in case you missed it, because he came out of the gate swinging, and that's how you check in to the third game with a strike. Jonathan Reid even giving him the fist bump. 10 after 1 and a bonus for Bryan Hebert. Hebert on the double. He's to the left of the head pin, drops 5 so far. John Reid has been averaging 5.4 on the first ball. Bryan Hebert currently averaging 6.1 on the first ball. And he'll take a nice 8 fill, 18 after 1, leaving the 1 and the 3 after 2 balls of the second frame. And it will be a 9 box for Bryan Hebert, 27 and 2. Lakeside Lanes has a soundproofing system in which 85% of all sound is absorbed. It's owner Tim Lipke, his son Shane Lipke, and Bobby Greco do an amazing job keeping this place looking and feeling great. There's also Kevin Davis and Caitlin Zolko and a whole bunch of other folks working here at Lakeside Lanes doing a great job. Tons of leagues, really fun and unique pools for things, such as the 4 strikes in a row pool, 50 over your average, and the orange pin pool, of course. That was a 3 drop for Bryan Hebert, and then poking the 4 pin on the second ball. Hebert will take 1 more out. It's a 5 box, 32 and 3. 1, the 5, the 7, the 8, and the 10 were left on the deck. Oh, look out. That first ball went over to the 10. Only took 1 out. It's a 1 drop. And a bit of an overcorrection, but I'll leave the 1, the 2, and the 3. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Lawrence Welk. And Hebert, oh, you saw that reaction. Something just wasn't right there. That's 39 after 4 for Bryan Hebert. 1 strike so far for both bowlers. Jonathan Reid has 4 spares. Bryan Hebert has yet to find a spare. Oh, and there's Kevin Davis, speaking of, running all around to make sure lanes are all set. There's Bryan Hebert. Oh, yeah. That's a shot that we saw Justin Rogero throw at Academy Lanes on Monday. That's the 189. That's a shot that nobody likes, because you hit the head pin, it looks like a strike, and that happens. It doesn't look like it's physically possible, but Bryan Hebert almost completes the rest of that predicament, leaves the 3 pin on the deck. That was a great recovery and a great second ball, all things considered. And Hebert will take a 9. That's 48 in 5 for Bryan Hebert. And after 5, the difference is 4 in John Reid's favor in the third game here. Halfway through, 52 and 5 for John Reid, 48 and 5 for Bryan Hebert. In the total, John Reid has 50 over Bryan Hebert, 250 to Bryan Hebert's 200. Both bowlers have 1 strike on the board. John Reid has 4 spares, Bryan Hebert none. Both bowlers are 8 for 25 on the head pin so far. John Reid has 1 split. Bryan Hebert has 4. John Reid is leading in fills, totaling 29, averaging 5.8 per mark. And here's Jonathan Reid. And he'll poke the 4 for a lemon drop. The old Paul Grant lemon drop. And on that lemon drop, he turns it into an 8 drop, leaving the 2 and the 10. And it's a 9 for John Reid, 61 in 6. Reid on the 1-2, split 6. That's the 2, the 5, the 9, and the 10 for Jonathan Reid. And he fires, and oh my goodness, he leaves the 9. The right kind of ball. Sometimes it just doesn't go. To finish that thought, it's going to be a 10 box for Jonathan Reid in the 7th for 71 pins this game. Reid's off to the left of the head pin to open the 8th frame. That's a 6-pack on the right side. Check his ID. The 6-pack brought to you by the 25th Lane at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's Jonathan Reid on the 6-pack, and he spares that 6-pack right up. That's what Jonathan Reid thinks of the 6-pack. Let's look at that again, shall we? On the right side 6-pack, he fires on the 1-3 pocket, and it all goes. That was the story of the 6-pack spare for Jonathan Reid. And on the 6-pack fill, he drops 7. Not on the head pin, but still a decent mix. 1, 2, 4. Orange pin is the 2-pin. So the orange pin pool at Lakeside Lanes, if the pin setter puts the orange pin in the 1-pin position, the head pin, and you get a strike or a spare off of that, you get entered into a raffle. And there's a spare for Jonathan Reid on the 1, 2, 4. Here's that spare once again in case you missed it. Right all over it. And Reid is to the left of the head pin. That's a 3 fill. So he's at 101 and 9, crossing the 100 threshold. Could get to 121 if he spares and fills with 10. Won't be a spare. He's off to the right. He's looking at a 6-box or greater. 1, 3, 4, 7. It'll be a 7 and a 108, Game 3 for Jonathan Reid. With 3 marks, 108, Game 3, 85, 113, 108 for a 3-game total of 306. 1 strike, 6 spares, 9 for 30 on the head pin, with 2 splits, totaling 39, and Mark Fills averaging 5.6 per mark. It's now Bryan Hebert's turn to respond. Here he is. Hebert on the 1-2 pocket. Good shot, just a little bit an odd splash, but he's got plenty of wood on the 5, 7, and 8. Should be a spare. If you hit it right, just don't miss. Oh, no. He's off to the right. And that'll be a 10 box. Missed opportunity there. Something we might call a Paul Grant special. Miss the second, get the third. $1 donation to Kennel Pins Per Cancer per occurrence. We'll talk more about Kennel Pins Per Cancer in a little bit. Bryan Hebert. To the right of the head pin, that's a Caleri. The first Caleri we've seen for the evening, I believe. Named after Bob Caleri. 1, 2, 4, 7, 9, leave. And Hebert on the Caleri will run down the 4 horsemen, connecting with the right side of the head pin. He's a righty, so that's not the Brooklyn side. He leaves the 9, which was the sleeper. That's a 9 for Hebert, 67 and 7. In case you're wondering what a Caleri is, named after Bob Caleri of Candlepin Stars and Strikes. That's a leave of the 1, 3, 6, 10, or the 1, 2, 4, 7, and the 9 pin. Excuse me, 1, 3, 6, 10, and 8, or the 1, 2, 4, 7, and 9. Bryan Hebert, to the right of the head pin, but got a decent mix of 5 out of it. John Reid finished the third game, averaging, after 3 games, 5.1 on the first ball. Bryan Hebert's averaging 5.2 on the first ball. Hebert will sail off to the right in the second ball. And Hebert's second ball connects with everything except for the 5 pin. That'll be a 9 box for Bryan Hebert for 76 and 8. Hebert started this game out with a strike. 2 boxes to go. Max game of 136. And Hebert's to the right of the head pin. Drops 4. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hebert's to the left of the head pin. Wood wrapping around, still figuring things out. He leaves the 1 and the 8. No mark in the 9th. Bryan Hebert's home house is Lakeside Lanes. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 36 points, averaging 7.2 per match. And he'll poke one more out. That's another 9 box, his 3rd in a row. That's 85 and 9 for Bryan Hebert. In his past 5 matches, he's totaled 2351 pins, averaging 470.2 per match. He has 1 out of 14 matches at or over 500. And that's Hebert on the 1-3 pocket. He's still mixing down 6. That's a 6 drop. He's 10 for 30 on the head pin with 6 splits. 7, 8, 10, 4. And Hebert, he had to connect with the left wood in some way, but just couldn't do it. Couldn't quite figure it out. And on the recovery, he'll connect with 3 and leave 1. That's a 9 box. That'll be a 94. 3rd game for Bryan Hebert for a 3-game total of 246. He's down by 60 to Jonathan Reid's 306 after 3 games. John Reid takes the 3rd game by 14, 108 to Bryan Hebert's 94. Both bowlers with 1 strike. John Reid has 6 more spares than Bryan Hebert. That's kind of the big difference there. Those spares do add up over time. Other than that, a lot of the stats are actually surprisingly closer than you might think. But John Reid is currently raking in the points as of right now. So John Reid warming up on lane 24 here at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. This very busy Lakeside Lanes. Bowlers filing in all over the place for leagues. And some bowlers I even recognize from the Sunday Night Mixed League as well. Of course, there are plenty of bowlers that bowl multiple leagues. I'm just not usually here other nights of the week, so I'm just interested to see what kind of bowlers bowl other leagues. This coming summer and fall, I'll be bowling a lot more leagues here, though. John Reid, though, on the 2 triangle, he punches the 2, and only the 2 leaves the 4 and the 5. Four and the 5, with the 5 as the orange pin for Jonathan Reid. He'll split the difference and leave the 4 for a 9 box. That's 9 after 1 for Jonathan Reid. John Reid, who's gone 10 for 31 on the head pin so far this evening. Misses the head pin there. He'll drop 5. That's the 1, the 2, the 78, and the 9. Interesting leave. You still have to basically connect with the head pin in the 1-2 pocket. John Reid's off to the right. 1, 2, 7, 8. Six down, 4 up, and he'll take a nice 10 box out of that. Jonathan Reid with the backdoor 10 box. That's 19 after 2 for Mr. Reid. What more can I tell you about Jonathan Reid in terms of stats? He averages 4.89 points per away match and 11 points per home match. He does much better when he's home versus away, and he's off to the left of the head pin there. A working ball. It's a 4 drop. 1, 5, 3, 6, 8, 9. And Reid will take a few more out, shave a few more off that center pile of pins. The 1, 3, 5, 8 are left on the deck. And he'll finish with a 7 for 26 and 3. So folks, if you have nothing else to do on Easter Sunday and you want to watch some incredible bowlers do some incredible bowling literally all day, I invite you to come down physically to Leda Lanes or tune in to Candlepin Bowling Network or possibly this channel, 3 Ball Spare, for some live streams of Ray's Easter Classic at Leda Lanes coming this Easter Sunday, and you won't want to miss that. I myself will be bowling in it. I will attempt to stream it the best that I can. It won't be a fancy stream like this. It's going to be just me with an iPad or something on a tripod. And every string we move one lane to the right, so it's always a little chaotic. It's always wall-to-wall people. So I will attempt to stream what I can with it while also bowling, but there'll also be other streams performed by Paul Grant and possibly Greg Goyar of Canopin Bowling Network, so check them out as well. It'll be a fun time. So if you tune in digitally or physically, check it out on Easter Sunday at Legal Lanes. Ray's Easter Classic. You won't want to miss it. That was an 8-box for John Reid. That's 34-4. Oh, and John Reid will slice and dice and cut 3. It's that awkward shot that I see. Maybe it's because I'm thinking about it more often, but I feel like it's happening more often than not. He'll cut the 3, the 5, and the 8. In the 4 horsemen left side and the 6 triangle. John Reid, a little bit too full on the head pin. Leaves 5 on the deck. It's the 7-10-4-6-2. Five boxer graded for Reid, and he'll split the difference for an 8. That was a rough half. He'll have 42 after 5, and that's where he'll rest. 2 for 5 on the head pin with 1 split. 11 for 35 on the head pin with 3 splits, 1 strike, 6 spares. 39 in Mark Fills, averaging 5.6 per mark and averaging 5.1 on the first ball. That's the story for Jonathan Reid. Here's Bryan Hebert again, starting the 4th game. Dropping 5. It's the bucket of 5 on the left. That's the 2 triangle and the 7 pin. Hebert's all over it for a spare. Takes out the bucket of 5. There's the replay in case you missed it on the bucket of 5. There it goes. Goodbye, goodbye 8 pin. Hebert starts out with a mark. Hebert off the left pin a little bit. He'll drop 4 and take a 6-pack. 6-pack on the right side. These can go. We watched Jonathan Reid get one of these just a little while ago. Up, and Hebert crossing over way too hard, way too fast. From Manhattan to Brooklyn. Hebert, 4-boxer greater. Oh, it'll be a 5. 19 after 2 for Bryan Hebert. Bryan Hebert to the right of the head pin. It was almost a Caleri, but he was spared it. Set drop 7 is the 1-2-9. It's a broken Caleri. Or the mini Caleri. And Hebert almost, oh wow, he connects with the 1-2, and the 2 bounces off the left side wall, but doesn't go far back enough to take the 9 pin. So it'll be for a 9 or 10 box for Mr. Hebert. It'll be a 10 for 29-3. 10 box, a spare, and an open frame for Bryan Hebert after 3 frames. 29 after 3. Compare that to 26 after 3 for Jonathan Reid. With a game and a half to go, roughly. Bryan Hebert in the 1-2 pockets, the bucket of 5 on the right side this time. And he got it in the first frame on the left side. Let's see if he gets it in the 4th frame on the right side. Bucket of 5, Bryan Hebert. Here we go. Oh, he was on the pocket, but a little light. So the ball was in the correct position. It's just the angle and the force just wasn't there. The 6 and the 9 for a 10 box. He'll take a 9 box out of it. 9 pin was just really, really safe. That's 38-4 with a 9 box for Bryan Hebert. 2 for 4 on the head pin this half. He's 12 for 34 on the head pin overall with 6 splits in the match, averaging 5.3 on the first ball.
Wednesday fun. Have your money and bullets ready, please.
There's a 6 drop and a split for Bryan Hebert. That's a 4-6-3-10. Bryan Hebert, 2 more head pin shots than Jonathan Reid. 4 more splits than Jonathan Reid. And ouch, he'll just miss the object pin by just a little bit. He had the Brooklyn side, the 3, and he was just off a little bit. And he's a little bit too full on that 3 pin, and that will be a 45 half for Bryan Hebert. 3 more than Jonathan Reid. 3 for 5 on the head pin with 1 split. Jonathan Reid is 2 for 5 on the head pin with 1 split this half with his 42. So 42 after 5 for Jonathan Reid, 45 after 5 for Bryan Hebert. That's the story of 3.5 games. 348 for Jonathan Reid, 291 for Bryan Hebert, a difference of 57 in total for Jonathan Reid, and Bryan Hebert currently has the game by 3. There are no open marks as of this time. Jonathan Reid getting ready to go on lane 23 here at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. Again, I'm Steve Kelly on the call for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, provided you by 3 Ball Spare Conglomerates. Great to have you along, and we are now back. Here's Jonathan Reid dropping 2 off to the left on the Brooklyn side. 2 down, 8 up. And Reid will take a few more out. 1, 2, 8, 9. And it's a good out for a 9. It looked like a 10 for a second, but it'll be a 9. 51 and 6 for Jonathan Reid. And he'll take 2 off the right side this time. Oh, and Reid overcorrected to the left. He held out 2 fingers thinking he was going to punch through, but he got a couple extra bonus pins for his efforts. It's currently 5 up, 5 down. John Reid is averaging 4.9 on the first ball so far. And he'll take 5. That's 56 and 7. Sorry, a lot of jazz references this match. In a jazzy mood, I guess. First with the Lawrence Welk, and then take 5. 56 and 7. Jonathan Reid on the head pin, on the pocket, and a nice strike for Jonathan Reid. Kaboom. And here's the replay of that shot. On the 1-2 pocket, a dance of pins and dominoes of pins contributed to that strike. Here, we'll watch it twice even. Look at the way all that fell. Kind of a backdoor 6 then 3 were the last 2 pins to fall. Here we go, Jonathan Reid. Oh, and he'll poke 2 out. That's the left side half Worcester. But he gets another ball on the spare, so it's not a disaster just yet. He punched the 2 and the 8 this time. It's a 2-8 or a 3-9 leave. And a quarter Worcester is if you're unlucky to just punch the 2 or the 3, and it can happen. Jonathan Reid, ooh, and that will be a 3-fill on the strike. Wild pitch to the right. That's 69 and 8. And the results of the 9th frame is going to be, after a lot of wiggling pins, it's going to settle to be a 6. 75 and 9 for Jonathan Reid, with a max on 105 if he can triple strike his way out of the 4th game. Here we go, Jonathan Reid. Oh, and it's another half Worcester-esque shot, but it's a 3-drop instead of a 2-drop. The 5 pin went down with the 2 and the 8. Oh, and he wanted to connect with the Brooklyn side of the head pin, but he was just a little bit to the left and sailed into the ocean. Always frustrating to see that. Jonathan Reid for remedial 3rd ball, and could have been worse. That's a 7 box. 82, 4th game for a 4-game total of 388 for Jonathan Reid. 12 headman shots for 40, 3 splits, 2 strikes, 6 spares. 42 and Mark Phil's averaging 5.3 per mark, and 5 average on the first ball for Jonathan Reid. It's now Bryan Hebert's turn here. And we're back. Welcome back. It's Bryan Hebert. And wow, rides the rail, punches the 1. Our punches 1 out. It's the 10 pin that gets poked out. Punched out. Taken out. Bryan Hebert on the Brooklyn, far west of Brooklyn. It's the 1 diamond, the 6 and the 9. And he'll make it a 1 diamond for a 6 box. 51 and 6 for Bryan Hebert. Bryan Hebert, oh, it's a repeat of the previous first ball. A 1 drop on the 10. Both blowers right now averaging 5 on the first ball, exactly. And Bryan Hebert will make that a 7 drop, 136. And it will be a 7 box for Bryan Hebert. That'll be 58 and 7. Maximum of 148 for Bryan Hebert if he can throw 5 strikes in a row here. Let's see what happens. Hebert, oh, in the pocket. Oh, it looked real good on paper. Dropped 8, just pins were not mixing very well past the initial splash. It's the 4 and the 8 for Bryan Hebert. And he'll spare that up. That's his second mark of the game. 68 and 8 for Bryan Hebert, plus a bonus. That's 2 marks in the second game. John Reid only had 1 mark. Might be able to snipe this 4th game if he can just fill well and maybe get another mark out of it. The formula is there for success. And Hebert, 1-3 pocket again. And that's going to be, yikes, a 6 fill. Just kind of deserved a better leave than what he ended up getting. It's a 7-8-9-5. And Hebert just a little bit off target. Takes 2 of 4. 5 and 9 are left on the deck. And he'll leave the 5 pin, the orange pin, for a 9 box, 83 and 9. He has taken the 4th game officially. So he has at least 2 points this match so far. Currently a difference of 59 in the total, with 1 additional box in John Reid's favor. And Hebert throwing a little bit harder, dropping 7, missing the head pin, but it was a decent mix, 1-3-9. A spare would really be helpful here. And Hebert, oh, just a little bit off to the right, still the 1-3-9. Hebert averages 5.3 on the first ball after 40 boxes. John Reid averages 5.0 on the first ball, exactly. And Hebert will take a 7 box. That'll be a 94th game. He will take the 4th game at least. And that's still a deficit of 52 in the total for Bryan Hebert in John Reid's favor. 4-game total of 388 for John Reid and a 4-game total of 336 for Bryan Hebert. 82 4th game for John Reid, 90 4th game for Bryan Hebert. 6 points so far for Jonathan Reid, 2 points for Bryan Hebert, not factoring in the grand total pinfall. And that's basically the story of the 4th game. We're going to move on to the 5th and final game, worth potentially 6 points if you can wrest back the grand total pinfall in addition to taking the 5th game. Always important, and I always like to highlight that any way we can. Here's Jonathan Reid. On the 1-3 pocket, mixes 8, splits 8. Seven and 8 with wood for John Reid. And the wood is effectively settled. Time for John Reid to go to work. And he does. That's a spare for John Reid. 10 and a bonus after 1. Reid's off to the right. He'll fill with 3. It's a right side Candlepin Corner. You should also check out Candlepin Corner on YouTube and Facebook as well, in addition to Candlepin Bowling Network and 3-Ball Spare. Candlepin Bowling Network, Jordan Britton, Chris Waterman, and crew over there. They do some great stuff over there, so you should check them out. They run the annual New England Knockout tournaments. They do a great job. And that's the 3-pin left for Jonathan Reid on the second ball. John Reid will clean up for a 10, 23 and 2. John Reid, another bit of a misfire to the right. He leaves the 1 diamond, the 4, and the 9. It's a 4 drop overall. Jonathan Reid right on it, all over it, punches it in the face for another spare. That's 33 and 3. In fact, why don't we try to see that again, shall we? Watch that explosion of a spare for Jonathan Reid. Does the chop. It's an effective strategy, I guess. Jonathan Reid on the 1-3 pocket, buries it. Almost a 10 fill and a strike, and the 5-pin is really wiggling and holding on for dear life. That's 42 after 3 for John Reid. Single pin spare opportunity. There is wood to the right of the 5. It should be fairly decent of a shot. And he's all over it for a spare. 3 in a row. A perfect half as well. 52 and a bonus and 4 for Jonathan Reid. Here's Jonathan Reid on a spare. Second spare in a row. It's off to the right of the head pin. It's a 4 fill. He's averaging 5.2 on the first ball. Oh, and he doesn't get the 3-peat on the mark. So he's looking at a 5-box or greater. It's the 1, 2, 4, 5, and 8. I know the sleepers are a little hard to see. And to lead the 5 for a 65 half. His strongest showing so far for 5 boxes. Jonathan Reid with 3 marks, 3 spares. A 10 and a 9 box for 65 and 5. A 4.5 game total of 453 for Mr. Reid. It's now Bryan Hebert's turn to respond. On the head pin. Split 7. Just no luck on these first balls so far. 4, 6, 7 for Bryan Hebert. It's a wide gap between the 4 and the 6, and a piece of wood on the 6. It's going to be some kind of miracle shot. You probably have to cap the wood in some way, really. And Bryan Hebert decides to play the left instead. Punches the 4. It's now the 6 and the 7. And it will be a 9 opener for Bryan Hebert. Good time to talk to you about candlepins for cancer. Go to candlepins4cancer.com to sign for qualifying roll-offs or to donate. That's run by Al Johnson and Paul Grant. You can see them in the photo there. Al Johnson in the blue, Paul Grant in the red. Great charity for the candlepin bowling community for folks in need of cancer treatments and the like. It's also candlepin bowling tournaments and stuff, broadcasted live, live ladders and everything, various kinds of tournaments. In addition to just scratch, there's also doubles, there's 9-pin, there's all kinds of formats. So do check it out. Candlepins4cancer.com. Bryan Hebert, it's going to be a 6-box on the 4 horseman left side after 3 balls. Jonathan Reid has been averaging 5.2 on the first ball, 45 boxes in, and Bryan Hebert, 42 boxes in, is averaging 5.1 on the first ball. And Hebert to the right of the head pin, and he'll take 3 out on the right side candlepin corner. And that ball's also off to the right. Something way off. He's got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 for Bryan Hebert. And he'll leave the 7 and the 8, and the 8 is wiggling. Won't fall. That's an 8-box. 23 and 3 for Bryan Hebert. Compare that to John Reid's 42 after 3. Here comes Bryan Hebert on the 1-2 pocket. Drops 6. Right side check mark. 6 drop. The 3, 5, 6, 10 for Bryan Hebert. And Hebert tries to check the check mark, but he hits it a little bit full. Connects with the 3 and the 4, 3 and the 5. Leaves the 6 and the 10. Bryan Hebert, that'll be an 8 box. It's a foul in the channel, taking the 10. That's a -1, so it's an 8 box for 31 and 4. First ball of the 5th frame is a 6 drop, not on the head pin. 1, 3, 6, 7. Orange pin, 3 pin. Piece of wood behind the 1 and the 3, diagonally. And Hebert connects with the correct pocket, and the 6 pin is the only one that doesn't go. Bryan Hebert and Jonathan Reid are averaging exactly 5.2 on the first ball. 10 box for Bryan Hebert for a 377 4.5 game total and a 41.5 in the 5th game. A difference of 24 in the game in Jonathan Reid's favor. Jonathan Reid still has a total by 76 going into the final 5 boxes here of the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. This Class E North Round 16 divisional match between Jonathan Reid and Bryan Hebert. We'll be here to close out the final 5 boxes of the evening. For each bowler, I'm Steve Kelly on the call again. Great to have you along. And let's see what happens in these final 5 boxes here. And welcome back. It's Jonathan Reid on lane 23, his final 5 boxes of the night. To the right of the head pin, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, and 10, I believe. A 4 drop. Both bowlers very similar in terms of the first ball pins down, on average, believe it or not. The first ball stat is interesting, especially when you're getting a lot of strikes and whatnot, or evaluating like probability if you'll get a spare or something. So always interesting to see that stat. That was a stat that I overheard Matt Susi talking about at Lethal Lanes when he was talking about the system, the Cubica AMF BES system, calculating that stat because that automatic score system records every ball quantity. So it will calculate that average for you. Here, I'm just doing it by hand. That's a 5 drop for Jonathan Reid. That's a 1, 3, 6, 7, 10. Oh, an extra pin falls. Actually, a 6 drop and maybe a 7 drop. Ooh, all right. Now it's a 7-10 split. Sorry, an 8 drop, excuse me. That was a very long-winded first ball for Jonathan Reid. It's a 7-10 split with 4 pieces of wood on the deck. Kind of more towards the 10. Jonathan Reid on the 7-10 split, and it goes. That's a spare for Mr. Jonathan Reid. In fact, let's see that again, shall we? Because that was pretty. The wood kicked around. The wood got around there. It was the frontmost wood that connected with the 10 you saw there. And then it bounced to the 7. You see that? Right there. Wow. Same piece of wood did the whole job. All right, Jonathan Reid on lane 7, filling a spare. On the pocket, dropping 6, filling 6, splitting 6. Banana split. Where is it? Here we go. Casey McCool, the banana split. Jonathan Reid takes 2 of the 4 pins of the banana split. But a cleanup for a 10 box. That's an even 100 after 8 for Jonathan Reid. Since we are towards the end of the match, I want to say a couple special thanks to our ACST committee members, including our ACST League Commissioner Danny Finn, our Class E Treasurer Maurice Perry, our ACST Statistician Micah Imperato, the staff at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire, for being great hosts. Steve Abodeely for some of the B-roll and photography you may have seen during some of the interludes here. Check his work out at stabodeely.com, STABODELY.com to see more. And of course, viewers like you always like when you're watching, whenever, however, support the sport, support the product, support 3-ball spares, support the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, all of it. I'm here for it, and I hope you're here for it. So always, thank you as always. Jonathan Reid for a 79 or 10 box is going to be a 7, 107 and 9. Jonathan Reid currently at 495 with 1 box to go. I think he's going to cross the 500 threshold. Jonathan Reid on 500 watch. That's going to be at least a 100 average, and with that 5, that is officially a 500. He could get to potentially 127 if he can spare this Kaleri on the right side. Oh, and he makes a great offer on the 1-3 pocket, but he leaves the 8 and the 10. It'll be John Reid, has to pick a stick. It'll be an 8 box. That'll be a 115 game 5 for Mr. Jonathan Reid. 85, 113, 108, 82, and 115 for a 5-game total of 503 for Jonathan Reid. It'll be 74 pins that Bryan Hebert has to attain to tie, 75 to win in 5 boxes. And he's starting out immediately here. With a 6 drop. To the right of the head pin, 1, 2, 8, 10. He was just off to the right a little bit. Still the 1, 2, 8, 10. For a 10 box. Oh, a nice out. Missed the second, get the third, but that was still a pretty shot regardless for Bryan Hebert. That's 51 in 6 for Mr. Hebert. 4 boxes to go. The race is on. Bryan Hebert to the left of the head pin. It's a 5 drop. 1, 3, 5, 8, 9 for Bryan Hebert. Oh, and he's off to the right. Connects with the 3 and the 9. Leaves the 1, the 5, and the 8 on the deck. To complete the 47th box of the match, it'll be a 7 box for Bryan Hebert, 58 in 7. Compare that to 90 in 7 for Jonathan Reid. Folks, if you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, I invite you to strike, comment, and subscribe to the Multiverse of Candlepin Bowling. Not only 3-ball spare and the Atlantic Candlepin Singles tour page on Facebook and YouTube, but also a whole bunch of stuff, other pages such as Candlepin Bowling Network, Candlepin Corner, at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok, Outrun the Bear on Facebook and Instagram, Alley Chat on YouTube, Bowling with the Gothiers on YouTube, Wolfman12395 on YouTube, the Candlepin Bowling channel on YouTube, the Ripping the Rack podcast on YouTube, the Approach podcast. There's also Tony Levesque on YouTube and Charlie Collins on TikTok. Check them all out. That's the Multiverse of Candlepin Bowling. Always appreciate if you could check that out. Support the sport any way you can. That's Bryan Hebert. That's a 3 drop on the left side Candlepin corner. On the 4 triangle he took out. And Hebert punches straight out. Leaves the 2, 3, 6, 9, 10. And Hebert will make it a 7 box for 72 and 9. And at this point, he has a max of 102, so it won't be the 5th game for Bryan Hebert. And at this point, it's, yes, that will be the 5th game for Jonathan Reid and the total for Jonathan Reid officially. 12 points for Jonathan Reid, 2 points for Bryan Hebert this match. And that's Hebert struggling there to the right. Just having some trouble on the first ball. 3 drop. And he's on the 1-3 pocket, and he leaves 3 on the deck. 2, 4, 5 for Bryan Hebert. Final ball of the match. The result of the play is a 9 box. And that is end of regulation. That's an 81 5th game for Bryan Hebert. A 5-game total of 417 for Bryan Hebert. And that is going to be the story of this match this evening. Queuing up the final stats. And here we go, your final stats for this evening. Jonathan Reid will take 12 points to Bryan Hebert's 2. 5-game total of 503 for Jonathan Reid, and a 5-game total of 417 for Bryan Hebert. Bryan Hebert just having a rough evening this evening. Overall, you can kind of see it in the total pinfall graph, just never could quite find a rhythm. He did take game 4, but other than that, just really had some troubles there this evening. Jonathan Reid with 2 strikes to Bryan Hebert's 1, 10 spares for Reid, 2 for Hebert. 15 for 50 on the head pin for Reid, 18 for 50 on the head pin for Hebert. So Jonathan Reid will go to 133 and 105. Bryan Hebert will go to 72 and 138. That will be the story. Your final score for the final time. Jonathan Reid, 12 points with 5:03. Bryan Hebert, 2 points with 4:17 after 5 games. And that will be it for the match. Again, check out these fine other Candlepin Bowling channels, such as Candlepin Bowling Network, the TikTok at Candlepin Bowling channel, at Candlepin Corner on YouTube, 3 Ball Spare on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. The Atlantic Candlepin Single Store page on Facebook. Check out Candlepin Chat on Facebook, alleychat.net, and Alleychat's YouTube channel. And, of course, the Ripping the Rack podcast, the Approach podcast, Tony Levesque and Charlie Collins, as I mentioned before. Check out 3 Ball Spare, my channel on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook for full matches, shorts, highlights, and more. I'm really leaning in on the YouTube shorts and highlight reels lately, so do check those out if you are short on time but want to watch a bunch of awesome shots and awesome moments from past matches. Check it out. Again, we talked about candlepinsforcancer.com, so do check that out when you have a moment. And, of course, go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. Anyways, that should just about do it for us this evening. For Jonathan Reid and Bryan Hebert, I've been Steve Kelly for the Atlantic Candlepin Single Store.